Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia. This is Fearless Formula with Sharon Klein.
Welcome to Fearless Formula on Business RadioX, where we talk about the ups and downs of the business world and offer words of wisdom for business success. I am your host, Sharon Klein, and today in the studio, I have the author of a book called Mind Over Misery, Unlocking the Power of Thought to Transform Suffering. Also, really interestingly, she is a sleep specialist and helps babies to sleep through the night, which is incredibly valuable. I'm so excited to talk to you. Welcome, Adrienne Morris. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Sure. We met in an interesting way.
Yes, we did.
So I had done some auditions for on voices.com, which is where I have my voiceover world. A lot of my work comes from there. So I had done an audition for the book that you were ready to have an audiobook for. And she hired me. It's so great because I never meet people that I do work for in a book world like this. And you're local to Atlanta, so it was just kind of special.
It was. You being in the Atlanta area was a huge reason why I chose you. I don't know. I just felt like there was a connection there when I first heard your voice. I was like, oh, yeah, like Yay. This is the calm I'm looking for. Like you felt like a reflection of me.
Oh, well, that's the highest compliment ever as far as being, a voiceover artist, because I always want to reflect well on the way that the author wrote it and the way they imagined it in their head or the energy behind it. That's like, you're who I'm trying to please the most. So just hearing that was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, you were spot on to me.
Oh, thank you. Well, how fun. I mean, what's neat is like this is a new sort of venture in your life. Like you've got another book in your mind actually after this that you're ready to do. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming an author?
So a little bit about my journey. So I first got into Toastmasters and I wanted to work on just communication and just my public speaking. I realized I didn't make any eye contact with people. I looked down, as far as networking, I was like scared to communicate with people. And so it challenged me. I feel like I faced my fears. Once I signed up, I was so nervous. And the lady was like, so when do you want to do your speech? And I was like, she was like, next week. And I was like, sure. Like, here we go. So, and after a few speeches, I built up the courage and I was like, I think I'm ready to write my book. I think I'm ready to get started. But just like in Toastmasters, I didn't know where to start. But just getting the ball rolling, just trying something different. I started working on my communication because in Toastmasters, they give you feedback. They evaluate you. They give you feedback. And I just implemented the feedback and I built up my confidence. And so same thing with the book. I was living with a friend and she was a writer, and I thought that maybe living with her, maybe, we could collaborate and work together and produce this book. And then it didn't work out. Then I went to Thailand to visit a friend for 7 weeks. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, I got it this time. This friend is going to help me. He had bought like a book course. So I'm like, okay, he's going to help me. But in that time in Thailand, I realized like it was all in me. That time of solitude, just being there to be able to work out or wake up, journal, work out, Google or YouTube, some book stuff to try and learn. I just realized like I got this.
It's interesting to think that here we are in our lives, our everyday lives, right? The routine. But to take yourself out of it and go into a completely different culture can unlock a different side of you that you didn't even know you had.
Yes, it definitely got the ball rolling. So when I got back from Thailand, after that 7 weeks, I came back with an outline and I was like, okay, I'm in it now. I'm doing it. What
was it about the culture and what was it about that environment that just gave you a different sense of who you were? Was it being quiet or was it the people that you met?
It was in the stillness, I would say. I had time to think my own thoughts. I think one thing a lot of people, I'm going to say in the States, they don't have the time to themselves. Most people are just waking up and doing the same things every single day. And a lot of it is work, which consumes most of your time and most of your mind. And in Thailand, I had all of my time and all of my mind. Like, I remember just sitting and I'm like, I'm controlling my time and I'm controlling my habits that I'm like, I didn't have to go into a job. I didn't have to worry about my expenses. I didn't have to worry about what I was going to eat. I didn't have to do any of that. I literally had the freedom to just be. And I think that was the most powerful thing for me.
It's a lost value system, I think, because as much as I'm in the same thing, I'm always running. There's always something on my calendar. I'm very busy, but I have dreams too, like I would love to do this or love to do that. But then like, it's almost Christmas like that. Right. If that's what it feels like, the year will go by so quickly and I haven't really accomplished my goals. Some of them, yes, but a lot of them, no. And I guess that feeling of being able to really appreciate the impact of your own thoughts only, as opposed to being constantly barraged with social media or TV or anything. I think I underestimate that.
Yes, I think a lot of people underestimate it. So from 2021 to, I would say, 2023, I was by myself a lot. And that's when I came into like the mindful eating, the mindful walking, and listening to the keynote speakers on YouTube and the motivational speakers every day and my meditation every morning. And I felt like I was choosing what was going in my mind, not the other way around, not showing up to work and this person saying, oh, you do this and you do that. Or, I didn't feel like an octopus, like being pulled in so many different directions. I felt like I was controlling my time. So who could I blame besides me? Because I was controlling everything.
Right. I don't even think I realize how much my attention gets pulled into 1,000 different directions. I react, or respond, I guess, or react, but I don't direct my time, I think. And I loved when I was reading that part in the book, I was thinking, this is so smart because it is feeding your brain what you want as opposed to just seeing whatever is out there in the world.
Yes, I think everyone needs to take back their power, control their own thoughts. You get to say, but I think society we're just kind of taught, either go to school or get a job, and that's what you do. And then that consumes 8 to 12 hours of your day every single day. And then, like you said, you have your own dreams, you have your own goals, but when do you find that time? And then if you have kids,
or relationship or anything, like anything that pulls your attention away, it's everything.
Yes, it's pulling your attention and it's controlling your mind too, because it's in the back of your mind. It's like your to-do list. You're always thinking about, okay, how can I fit this in or how can I fit that in? But when I was in that time of solitude, I literally could map out every hour of my day or just be spontaneous, say, I'm going to go for a 2-hour walk just because I had that time. And I was like, I know this is going to help me.
When you came back to the States, did you find that there was a huge disparity between the way you felt there and the way you felt here? Like, was it really challenging to keep that peaceful mindset going?
I don't think that it was challenging to keep that peaceful mindset. I started this journey in 2021, so I feel like I've had 3 years of practice. But in Thailand for the 7 weeks, it just felt like a freedom and a peace I never knew I really needed. Working with the babies, if anybody needs help, I'm always like, yes, yes.
I know how to do this.
It's easy. Yeah. Like, the parents are like, they're so good with you. I'm like, I know, these are my babies. But being 12 hours away, I couldn't say yes. Nobody could ask for help. I couldn't just get on a flight and say, hey, I'm coming back. Like, I feel like me going away for 7 weeks, I set that time out for me. So I feel like, if anything, it just intensified my solitude and my mindfulness, and creating even better habits than I already had.
Wow. It makes me wish maybe at some point in my life, I'm going to put it out there as an intention.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be able to take some time to myself like that too.
Yes.
Well, why don't we talk about your journey that you went through, not just writing the book, but how you got to the point of being able to have that mindset to say, I've got a lot here that can help a lot of people. So when I think about the fact that you started off kind of realizing that you were out of alignment with a lot of things and reacting to situations that you didn't love, then you realize there are intentional ways that I can change myself in order to get a response that I'm proud of and really like. What was it like to kind of get that into a whole book? Because you talk about, I mean, these are major transformative moments, especially regarding your father, which, you know, can be very emotional as well. So feel free to fill in the gaps of what I kind of just outlined.
Okay. So, when I started in 2021, it was challenging. There were tons of tears because I'm like, I don't even know how to be with myself. Do I even like myself? You know, because the thoughts that were consuming me were so negative. So like I said before, I decided to take control of my day. So waking up early and doing my journaling and doing my meditation. And I started listening to other speakers because it was positive. On social media, when you're scrolling, you don't know what you're going to get. So I was more intentional when I woke up and I was like, this is what I'm going to fill my mind up with, or doing the affirmations as soon as I got to work, setting the reminders for my reminders to go off each hour just to affirm me and keep me positive throughout my day. Like those little things helped me develop the mindset. And there was a time when I got off of social media because I realized how much it was controlling my mind. And I was like, everyone's saying the same thing, doing the same things. And I was like, they're just vulnerable enough to do it, you know, and in that time of my life, I wasn't vulnerable enough. There were times when I would turn on my camera and try and talk to the camera, and I'm like, no, I'm forgetting everything that I need to say. So, but that's what got me into the Toastmasters. That was my real challenge. I'm like getting up, getting out, getting around a community to around people with similar mindset helped me. And like I said, build the confidence to be able to even write the book. And I will say, so with my dad, he is in the book too. And his absence, I think, drove a lot of this. And a huge turning point was when I called him, and I had rehearsed all these lines of what he was going to say, what he was going to do, or how he was going to respond, because I could only think of the negative stories that I had from a child. But when I called him and he said, whatever I have to do to fix it, it shut down every negative thought that I had. And the more I was around him, the more I realized how much, like, the good things, I was like him. So I found value in that. And
it takes a lot of bravery to call your father and say those kinds of things when you haven't had him in your life for most of your life. That's like says a lot about your spirit, because you really felt like to go to the OG, you know, you know what I mean? Yes. To go to where it starts, where a lot of people kind of, you know, play off of the people around them to kind of try to heal those parts of themselves. And obviously it doesn't work that well. And there's a lot of drama that can happen. And you instead decided to go to the source and say, okay, this is what I need to heal. And how wonderful that your father took responsibility. That's a gift as well.
Yeah. Even I did a speech 2 weeks ago, and he was up here and he actually came. Aww. And so in Toastmasters, you have to introduce yourself, and they ask you like who you are, how'd you hear about us, and what you're looking to get out of Toastmasters. And he stands up and he says, my name is Adrienne Morris. And he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, I'm Adrienne Morris's father. And then I do my speech, and my evaluator mentions, like, does everybody realize, like, she spoke her truth and her biological father is sitting right here. So I do think that we have built a relationship where I would say I have a more positive outlook. Everything isn't perfect, but I think that we are building slowly. So, and even with me expressing myself about how I attracted relationships similar to the like unemotional or unemotional,
kind of like a dynamic that is like similar to the way that your father was. These relationships were very mirroring the similar energy, right?
Yes, and I kept attracting that. But then I realized, like, the more I leaned into him, I feel like the more I could recognize the signs, because I'm like, this is the source and this is where it's coming from. And I feel like the more I avoided it, it was like the more I still didn't know. And I just stayed on the hamster wheel. So it wasn't until I challenged myself to call him and say, hey, like, this is what's happening. It hurts.
Yeah, this really hurt my life.
Yeah.
Well, I have to give you props here because obviously the show is called Fearless Formula, and everybody understands the emotion of fear. It's just a basic one. But you do have a fearless formula that you do face your fears and do things anyway, especially Toastmasters. I was thinking, I think statistically, people are more afraid of public speaking than dying. Some crazy statistic like that, to where most people would be like, yeah, I would do anything than get up, rather than get up in front of people. But you did it. You went and faced it. And then obviously confronting your father the way that you did, you were brave enough to do that. What is it about you that you think that you just push through the fear and do it anyway?
I will say sports. I am very athletic. I played volleyball, softball, basketball, baseball. You name it, I tried it. And I'm small. I'm like 110 pounds. I'm short, 5'1". And I feel like everyone just always just saw me as small and tiny, or like I couldn't do something, or like, I wasn't going to win, or
like
they're going to beat me.
Right?
Yeah. And so I think I just developed this mindset, like, I'm going to show you, and I think it allowed me to like push through. When I was in high school, soccer and basketball was at the same time. And my freshman and sophomore year, the coaches let me play both sports. But my junior year, they were like, you're going to be on varsity. You have to pick. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go with soccer. So I went with soccer. And then my senior year, I was like, I don't want to do soccer. I think I want to do basketball. But the coach, he says, I like 4-year athletes. So he wanted me to have played basketball my junior year. But that wasn't the decision I made. So when I went to the tryout, I felt like he already was kind of counting me out. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to keep showing up. Then after the first day, he was like, well, I have a junior that can do the same thing you can do. So I'm like, okay, but I'm not the junior. And then he's like, well, you're not working hard enough in practice. Like, everyone else is like hunched over tired after the running drills and you're not. And I'm like, I can't help that I'm fast, like, I'm making the time. I'm just not out of breath. So then I started pushing harder. And then the next day I still come back and he's like, well, even if I put you on the team, you're not going to get any playing time. So I'm like, do you know who I am? Like, on all the teams I play on, I always start. I always play. So I think that drove me. And so I wound up making the team. And then after the first few games, like 2-3 games, I was 6 man off the bench. And so I was like, first of all, he told me I wasn't going to make the team. Now I'm on the team. Then you told me I wasn't going to play. Now I'm 6 man off the bench. So I'm the first person to be put into the game. I'm like, oh, starting position's right around the corner. So sure enough, I began starting. So I think that's where I feel like I developed like this ability to just push through anything. Like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. If I put my mind to it, I know I could do it regardless of what anybody says.
It says a lot about sports in general, because when you're part of a team, it's not like just you. You've got to show up because you have other people counting on you. So there's like, I don't know exactly how to say it, but maybe like a disconnect of what you yourself wants, but you are able to look at what's best for the team or something. There's like a distancing that you do of your own emotions, I guess. And there's something really valuable there, I think, because I'm my own worst enemy, and I make it so difficult for everything in my head. But like if I'm thinking beyond myself, it's amazing how much I can put somebody else's needs forward. I don't want to let them down, so I'll do it, as opposed to I can let myself down like all day long.
No, you matter too.
Yeah, I know, right? That's such a good lesson for me to hear. No, but I love that because, it says a lot about, like, if you have a child that you want to have the same kind of mentality, it makes sense that you would allow them to be part of a team so that they can see that they're a part of something bigger than just themselves.
Yes.
I love it. And also, I think there's a huge element in your book regarding manifestation and how much what your mind, how you focus your mind and that mindfulness determines your reality. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Yes. So, I have so many stories.
I
know. So in that time of like solitude, that's when I was able to like really see my thoughts and see how things come into fruition. I could think of something and then I would get a text message, or I could see something on my phone, like an advertisement on social media, and then go to like Home Goods or TJ Maxx and it show up right in front of me. And I'm like, wow, like, so if I can think this thought and then something show up that fast, like, I need to keep my thoughts positive. And it was like a reality check for me. I remember one time driving around running some errands and I saw a Tiff Treats advertisement vehicle. And I was like, I think I kind of want Tiff Treats. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to get it. So I go home, go to sleep, go into work that night. It was the mom's birthday and she had 3 boxes of Tiff Treats. And she texted me and she was like, have as much as you want. We can't eat it. Take some home. There's Ziploc bags in the counter. So just little things like that. That same family, I wanted to take a trip with them. I was like, if I could just show them, like my skills, like on a trip, like, maybe it could like lead to more. And I remember thinking about it right before I went to sleep, and I woke up from my nap and I got a text message like, hey, do you want to take a trip with us to like Turks and Caicos? And I'm like, yes, I was just thinking about that before my nap. Like things would happen within minutes or things would happen within hours.
That you can't deny either.
I cannot deny that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm here by myself. Like,
yeah. No one knows
really
that happening. I said this.
Yes. Yeah. So like there's proof in my experiences that it works. Like our mind is just that powerful. So, and if you realize that, you would keep your mind more on positive things and be more intentional about the things that you say that you actually want.
True, because how many people look at the negative side, like, oh God, I hope it doesn't rain today because I have so much to do. And just the fact that you said that, can affect, I don't know if it can make it rain, but just the idea of being negative as opposed to, I love when it's sunny. Just keeping your thoughts on what you do want as opposed to what you don't. Mm-hmm. That's a challenge. It's almost like a habit of thinking of the darker or negative things, I think.
Yes. I think in our society, we're kind of just like raised that way. And we just think that it's normal. So I feel like I just challenged the norm to do something different, and it wound up working out for me. And I manifest with ease.
That's amazing.
There's little things like, because I'm a live-in nanny now, one day I wanted vodka pasta, and the mom put in the Instacart all the ingredients for vodka pasta, and I woke up from my nap and she's like, oh, I'm making vodka pasta for dinner. And I'm like, I was just thinking that. Or last week Friday, I was thinking about buying myself some flowers. I was like, I haven't bought myself flowers in a long time. And I go into my room, the lights turned on, and they had like the lamp shining the light on roses. And she had a little note for me, and she's like, thank you for everything you do for us. We love you. I'm like, there's my flowers. Like, I didn't even have to go get them.
Really, that's so valuable. And I think, too, it feels so much better to think this way. It feels good, right? So
Yes.
it's like positive and joyful and expectant. And it's that energy is so vastly different from thinking, oh, I don't want this to happen or don't want that to happen. So I think that's, for me as well, that's a really good nugget of wisdom for me, to keep my mind thinking of positive things. And knowing that the feeling behind it being positive and good is just what I need for the manifestation to happen.
Just know it. Just believe it. It's that intention.
Okay.
Know that it's already yours.
It's already mine. I love that. But I mean, how cool is it that you actually thought of other people too? You didn't just keep all of this wisdom to yourself. You were thinking about how other people can benefit. It's really sweet. You know, a lot of people, when they feel like they have power, it almost, is something that they want to keep private. Or they don't believe there's enough for everyone. But you've never thought that. I know in your book you had talked about how really this universe is for every human here to make their world how they want it.
Yeah, like you find your own way. You find what works for you. Like, I'm offering tools and techniques, but take my tools and techniques and make them your own. Because I don't know what's in everyone's head. I don't know everyone's experiences, but I feel like if you give someone like a basis of tools and techniques, then that could jumpstart their journey. It can get them out of the turmoil. It could stop the negative thinking. It could, maybe they will challenge their own thoughts and say, why is this happening? Or why am I doing this? Or why do I keep thinking about the same thing over and over again? Or why do I keep dating these similar guys?
Yeah, I do.
Like, we all want freedom from that.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing to be afraid of here, because it can seem daunting when you're looking at the foundation of the way that you think. That keeps you safe. And that's how you live your life, is with that foundation. So to shake it can seem like, well, I don't want anything too different. I don't want everything to be upside down. But I love that there's nothing to be afraid of here. It's all a positive, not just for your own character, but for what you can offer the world and how it affects the world in a bigger sense. And I think that's important to keep in mind.
And we're all human. We all have our struggles, and we all have our story. We're all just trying to find our way, whatever that may look like to us.
So true, girl. But I love that you feel the fear and do it anyway. And if you were to say what your fearless formula is it that you're able to not think too hard about something and talk yourself out of it? Like, how do you push? Because there are people that have their dreams and then it just seems overwhelming, too difficult. What could you say to someone that's listening that has that fear that keeps them back?
So one thing I do try and find is someone doing what I want to do. And another tool I learned was to sit back and observe and not talk so much. Because when you look with your eyes, you're able to see like, is this, what I want around me? Like, is this the system that I'm looking to create? Like, is this the way that I'm looking to do things? Because someone can tell you anything. And like we were talking about earlier, like filling your mind up with things that, you really don't want. But like seeing it, you can just remove yourself like, no, turn the other cheek.
Look at something else.
I'm not trying to attract that.
I love it. So it's almost like you're letting someone's life that you wish you had, you're kind of learning from their wisdom. You're learning from their experience. And if you like their outcome, then you can align yourself with that, as opposed to just looking at anything and not knowing if the outcome is anything that you really want.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that I'm sure don't have the outcome, that feels right to you.
Yeah. So for me, one of the things I kept saying was like, I wanted a housekeeper. I wanted to learn household systems. That's what I kept telling myself. I wanted to travel the world, all expenses paid. I wanted to live mortgage and rent free, and I wanted to exchange less time for more money. And I got a call from the family that I'm a live-in nanny for in January, and they offered me 30 hours. So I was exchanging less time for more money. I travel with them for free, and I live mortgage and rent free now. So a few friends and I that I met at Toastmasters, we would get on a call every single day at anywhere from 5 to 6 a.m. and we would recite each other's affirmations. And after 8 months, I manifested those 3 things, all in this one family. So, and they show me things that I said that I wanted, but I don't have the experience, and I've never seen anybody do things in the way that they do them. And so I do my best to stay present in the house, because I'm like, I asked for all of this. All of it.
The good and bad.
Yes, the good and bad. Yeah, sometimes I do have to call my mom and talk to her. And she's like, you asked for this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Thank you for saying that. Like, after the emotions are gone, I'm like, okay, yes, back to reality. Yes, you're right.
So true. I love that. Listen, everyone needs the mom that kind of brings it back to the real.
So my mom is going to keep it real.
Yeah. How amazing. And what a wonderful Toastmasters group to be part of, where you support each other on like a spiritual level, not just your speech was great or you can do it, but to actually really kind of go through life together a little bit. That's really special.
Yeah, it was. A shaman, she told me, because I was like, in my book, I talk about this too, where I'm like, well, if they don't call me, I'm not going to call them. And I reached out to her and I was like, why does this bother me? And she was like, you need hobbies. I'm like, I thought I had hobbies, but maybe it's not enough, And so I think that drove me to go to Toastmasters too. And I was talking to someone yesterday from Toastmasters, and I was just saying, just being around like-minded individuals helps out so much, because everyone there is, one, looking to be positive and looking to grow in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of people want to be heard, and they want to be understood, and they want you to communicate effectively. And Toastmasters gives you all of that. And so the community just kind of like puts the stamp on it every time I go.
It's amazing. It's such a positive thing for your life. Well, if you're just joining us, we're speaking with author of Mind Over Misery, Adrienne Morris. I also wanted to talk to you about the other side of your life. Obviously, you're a live-in nanny, you were saying, but you provide a very valuable service for parents who have new babies who aren't sleeping through the night, and those parents need that baby to sleep through the night. So can you talk a little bit about how you and your sister got into this business together?
Yes. Okay. Shout out to Dream Babies.
Dream Babies. I love it.
We get the babies to sleep. So my sister, I went to Albany State, and my brother and sister lived in Atlanta, and they were like, come up here, there's more opportunity. So I decided to move in 2014. And so when I first started with her, I was just doing like date nights, like kind of getting my feet wet with taking care of the babies, and she was just getting her business up and running. And then we started something called Sleep Learning. So we're newborn specialists, where we teach babies to sleep 8 hours by 8 weeks or 12 hours by 12 weeks. And we create structure and systems for the parents and for us. We get them on a feeding schedule that ensures that baby's being fed, so they're being taken care of, and that they'll sleep peacefully throughout the night. So they're not waking up angry or upset or anything like that. We all like a calm baby. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Most people can't handle babies crying. So
yeah, I was just saying that before the show. I'm like, I can't. And I love that what you do is, I don't know. There's a philosophy where babies kind of decide when they're hungry, and you feed them when they're crying, or like there are 3 basic reasons why they cry. But I like that you are kind of anticipating what they're going to need before they do, so that they never actually get that dysregulation or that so upset, because they're so hungry like that. So it's something that if I could go back, I would be more mindful of, is keeping kids on a good schedule, like babies in particular.
Yeah, they need the consistency, and so do you. It gives you peace of mind too. So
I was going to say, like, to me, being sleep deprived as a new mother, it's almost just messed up to have like a very helpless infant to take care of when you can hardly take care of yourself. And I remember thinking it's kind of cruel that you have, like, they let you go home with this baby and no one's there to check on you. You're like, you're letting me take this baby?
Yeah.
And then now
yours,
and no one's there to, other than if you have someone at home to help you, like a mom or something, that's wonderful. But oftentimes, like, I was alone. So it's just the idea of not being able to really make sure that your mind is as clear as you would want it to be to take care of an infant. So I love the idea of being able to say in 8 weeks, you will at least be able to get 8 hours of sleep. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, with us being there, the parents can sleep a little bit longer.
It makes everybody happier.
It does. Like, within the first 2 weeks, depending on how many nights we're there, like, with the parents, it just depends on how much sleep they're going to get. Because the first 2 weeks is just like every 3 hours we're doing this. Like,
yeah, you're dealing with it.
Yeah, and so after like week 3 and week 4, we can slowly, begin to stretch baby overnight. A few more hours, which helps out the parents if we're not there. So just getting that extra hour just helps them overnight. And so week after week, we stretch a little bit longer, and we've gotten to a point where within 6 to 8 weeks, we could have babies sleeping 12 hours. So, I mean, imagine in your first 2 months of having a newborn, your baby can be sleeping 12 hours. So if you put baby to sleep at 7 p.m., baby's going to sleep till 7 a.m. So that gives you time to yourself if you want to shower or talk to your husband, make a little eye contact, if you need a little 15 to 30 minute bath, with some candle lights just to relax, some quiet time, or sitting on the patio.
It
allows you, it allows you all of that time. And, baby's fed, baby's going to be okay. Baby got their calories throughout the day. So it provides a lot of peace of mind.
Do you think it helps that it's not your baby crying? In other words, when my children and babies were crying, my heart just hurts so bad. So do you think that little degree of separation makes it easier for you to manage? Or are you finding that the theme is the same? Like most moms are just like, my baby's crying, I got to go get this baby up, even if it's 2 a.m. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. So I will say for me, the response I get from a lot of moms or parents just in general, because a lot of the dads are very active, they always say I bring a calm to the house. And like the babies know me. Like the last baby I had, Hadley, she wouldn't even cry like on the changing table. And we had trained a new girl, and the one night she had went, Hadley
cried the whole time.
Yeah.
No.
So she was like, she misses Miss Adrienne. Aww. And I'm like, yes, because they know your heart, they know your mind. They like, if you're calm, the baby's going to be calm too. So, and I always say, all of my babies are so good. If you see them around me, the kids are not crying. I don't care what age they are. We're having fun. We're laughing. Like, there's still some structure, but I mean, we're still going to have fun at the same time. So from newborns to 7-year-olds, like, wow. I'm not getting a lot of the tears. Yeah. I'm not saying 100% of the time these kids are not crying, right. But 95% of the time, I'm not experiencing having to help them with their emotions through crying.
All right. So the takeaway from that is the energy that you're bringing, they can feed right off of.
Yes.
Even babies, even newborns.
Even newborns, they know. They can't talk.
Yeah,
so all they can do is sense energy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
I should have started this a long time ago. I mean, my kids are like, they're great, but I'm just saying, how valuable is this when you are just getting started in the parent field? Yeah. It'd be really wonderful to kind of be mindful of your own energy. It's so tough though. It's all emotional. You've got hormones happening. Your body's not the same. It's like the challenge is real. So someone like you coming in with good energy is very, very valuable.
Yes. And then I'm always like constantly telling the parents, like, you are doing such a good job. I'm like, give yourself some grace. Your baby's sleeping 6 hours and they're only 4 weeks old. I'm like, some kids are 2 years old still waking up every 3-4 hours. Like, your kid's doing great.
How important are those words? Those words are so important, especially when you're a new parent. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't have anything to compare it to, but I do. I've seen thousands of babies.
So this is your next book that you're considering writing, or you're getting started writing. Is that right? All about what you do with your sister.
Yes. I like to put that in a book as well and help other parents. I mean, going in overnight, the physical part is lovely, but for the people who possibly can't afford the services, I would like to put it in a book so that I can help even more people. And I feel like this can help anyone in the world. Anybody with a baby. Babies aren't going to stop coming, so I just want to help the world.
Yeah. It's so exciting too. That energy is so good. Just knowing that you're trying to help people to get to feel like they're living their authentic life, whatever that looks like. Yes. It doesn't have to be a cookie cutter anything, but whatever reflects their reality, how they want to live, being congruent. I think that's so important. But also just starting at a baby level,
Yeah.
But also, you were saying how important it is for adults to have that structure and balance too. I don't think that ever really ends, because one of the things I was thinking about recently is like, if I had all the money in the world, where would I go? What would I do? The whole world is open. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not happy in this moment, well, I can do something else to make it even happier and happier and happier. There's always more. Mm-hmm. But there's something about having a natural limit that calms my spirit down, because it's not always trying to one up, oh, well, this will be even better if I get more and have more. Mm-hmm. But knowing that, and it's the same for children, like that having boundaries gives them peace. And I think it doesn't end as an adult either. Having boundaries around myself gives me peace too.
Mm-hmm. So living in the house, I am very structured. Mm-hmm. I pick up the kids at 4:45. Well, I start cooking around 3, and then I pick up the little girl at 4:45. I get back to the house and we all eat dinner together, and then I shower them up and we're done by 6:30, every single day. But I don't have to give a lot of instruction. I just do it. And then when you keep doing it the same way every single day, it kind of gets the kids to fall in line. So after our shower, the little girls are oh, we have to brush our hair and brush our teeth every single day. So, and it's not I have to harp on this. We just go from the shower to the bathroom. So I think when you create these systems or these habits with the kids, it gives you peace of mind and them peace of mind. So now I'm not having to say hey, it's time to brush our teeth. It's time to brush our teeth. It's time to brush our teeth. Mm-hmm. It's time to brush our teeth.
Why haven't you done it yet? What's it going to take? Yeah. I think I was very structured as well, as a parent, but I would say that, seeing it now, our lives feel different than when I was actively parenting small children. When I think about it now, there's always a screen around, there's always a distraction around. So I would have to be a different parent, I think now, very, very structured with what they are exposed to as well and how they spend their time. I don't envy any parent right now, because I do think it's constant exposure.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to have a TV anymore, in order to be affected by media. Mm-hmm. It's just really interesting, because it's I almost wish I could do a bit of a do-over in some ways. When you know better, you do better, But I love that you're giving people who are just getting into it all of the structure that they would need to make their life the way they want it, whether it's through your first book, Mind Over Misery, or being able to help new parents. Mm-hmm. It's exciting.
Yeah. So the thing for me is I have a lot of experience. When I was 10, my cousin would have me come over and watch my 5-year-old cousin and my newborn cousin. And she would start dinner, but I would have to finish dinner. And I would feed the kids and put them to sleep. So I feel I started this a long time ago. I feel most parents have 1 or 2 kids, and that's where they get their experience. And doing anything in life, 1 or 2 times.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough for anyone. It's the truth. Not to be a master at something or to really even understand your own self in that whole process.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure it out together. So with all of my practice, I've been able to create systems and try things that I know work. So when I show up in any household or when I show up around any kid, I show up as me. And I'm confident in my way.
Truth.
So.
I love that. I mean, I do the fake it till you make it thing, pretend that I really am confident and know what I'm doing. And every time I walk in this studio and the code still works and I'm still allowed to come in, I'm like, wow, they haven't figured it out yet. That's great. Like the imposter syndrome is real for me. Anyway, but I love that too, because it's not like you're saying no one can have access to these things. You have to be special, or you have to have had the exact experience I have. You say it's there for everybody.
Yeah.
That's very hopeful, I think. That you don't have to be super special. You can just be your normal self and still have access to be able to live your life the way you want.
I think you're already special, but you have to know that. You have to be confident in that and know that it's okay. We are all human. Mm-hmm. That is one thing I always say. We are all human, trying to find our own way.
Truth. That's the best thing about this show, I think, is because it focuses on the things that make us all human. And there are universal truths. We know love, we know fear, we know pain, disappointment, all of those emotions that are universal to all of us unite us. It makes us the same. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my biggest themes, is that, things that helped someone else get through fear, well, maybe that's the same kind of thing you could use, because we all know what it feels like to be afraid. If you were going to give an author who has an idea of a book some advice on how to get to the point of actually publishing, what would you say?
I would say just believe in yourself. Just don't stop. And I would say take daily action. So when I started my journey in 2021 and I just started meditating, I didn't know what to do. So I got on YouTube and I would do a 5-minute guided meditation, but my negative thoughts consumed the whole 5 minutes. But I was like, I'm going to keep doing this. So I did it every single day until I was able to change my thoughts. And then I went up to 10 minutes. And then I was like, okay, one day I'm not going to need the guided meditation. I'm just going to do 10 minutes on my own. So same thing with the book. Just start with the title, start with the cover, and just take daily action. Learn from somebody who's already doing it, and you may not even use their way, but just to hear a different perspective when you don't have a perspective at all because you're not in it, I think that helped. But just doing a little bit every day, I feel like you start training your brain like, okay, we're doing this. I like this, And so I feel like eventually you will complete it. Like, just start gaining some knowledge a little bit at a time every single day. Just don't stop and create the cover. Once you have the cover, you're like, okay, I'm in it now.
It's real. Oh my gosh, that's such good advice. And people can use AI to make their own covers these days. And also, it's not like you need to go anywhere to do it. You can just say, I don't know, the cover's going to be, a mountain with this on it. And then it's a real thing. It's a real, it's not just out there as an esoteric idea. It's actually something you can look at and get inspired by.
You can use AI if you're already creative. You can use Canva, do it yourself. If you've got extra funds, you can use Fiverr or Upwork. There's so many ways to get help. So,
all at our fingertips.
Yes.
If we need it, including your book and soon to be audiobook.
Yeah.
Out there in the world.
I'm so excited. I was listening to it earlier. I went to the river and I was just like, I did this.
Yes, you did. You created a book. I love it. It's so inspiring, even for myself. So Adrienne, I just want to thank you so much for coming into the studio and being such a positive light to the world, because so many people can look at their past and blame lots of people and circumstances for why they don't do what they're could do. You don't do that. You don't blame. You say, here's what I'm going to do to make a change. And you actually did it. So I hope everyone who listens gets inspired and picks up your book, whether it's audiobook or just the physical book or Kindle or whatever. Please feel free, everyone out there who's listening, to feel inspired to make your life the way you want it. I mean, it's so well structured how you have the chapters. And nothing feels daunting. Everything feels like, okay, a little step, a little something out there to do. It doesn't have to be your whole life upside down.
No, I mean, you won't see the change overnight anyways, but most people want it upside down. Like they want to go 0 to 100, but life doesn't work like that.
No.
At all. I mean, little things might show up like my Tiff treats manifestation, but if you want real like internal change, give yourself, it might sound crazy, but at least a year. Because it's going to take practice. Like I said, even with writing the book, it's going to take daily effort. It's going to take daily habits, daily discipline. Every single day you're going to have to do it. And then eventually you come into that person that you're looking to be. But a lot of people will do it for a week, or even with like fitness programs, they do like 30 or 60 days. Okay, well, what do they do after the 30 or 60 days? For most people, if they've spent 5 years not doing something, 30 days typically doesn't change that and make them continue to do it for another 5 years. Right. So you just have to keep going every single day and just create the habit till it feels like it's just a part of your day and you can't do without it.
I want to say I heard that it takes 21 days to create a habit to where it starts to feel like you said, like brushing your teeth or something where you don't have to think about it. So I think anyone can commit to 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was actually my journal goal, and I did it. And that's what started it. I was like, okay, I did it. I got this.
And it feels so much better to live that way. And I guess that's the ultimate goal, is if you're not happy with the way that your life is going right now, to be able to change it to where you do really like it. Like, what do I really want? And how do I want to really feel? That's very motivating. That's something I would keep in mind, because all these tips and tricks that you have are for that ultimate goal. So it's not, I just need to journal today, but it's actually, I really need to feel better. And this is the tool I'm going to use to do it. Yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much for coming in this studio. If anyone wanted to get in touch with you as well, how can they do that?
Instagram, it's Adrienne Morris. TikTok, it's Adrienne's Journey. Facebook, it's Adrienne Morris too. And the book will be released September 20th.
Woohoo, it's coming.
And I'm having a book launch October 13th. So all are welcome.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh, I'm so happy for you. And please come back when you are ready to talk more with your next book. I would love to explore that with you as well. I think everything you're offering is so useful and needed in the world. And it's just a joy to have someone in the studio who kind of wants the same kinds of things that I do. It's like really fun. You know, wants good things.
Yes. You're so easy to talk to. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's a pleasure working with you.
Yeah. Yay. That's good news. And thank you all for listening to Fearless Formula on Business Radio X. And again, this is Sharon Klein reminding you, with knowledge and understanding, we can all have our own fearless formula. Have a great day.